Why Walmart is closing half its stores in Chicago. Do you have a clue why? What do you think it might be? Well, keep that thought in your head. Let's go through this article. Let's see if this article remotely touches on the true issues of why Walmart is closing half of the stores in the third largest city in the United States. Let's get into it. Here we go. Walmart plans to close half its stores in Chicago, a reversal of the retail giant's high-profile commitment in 2020 to expand in the city as part of its corporate racial justice initiative in the wake of George Floyd's murder by police. Remember when Walmart was just all in? Just all in? Now we're hitting that exit button. We're hitting the eject, right? Boop. There we go. We're out of Chicago. Half of the stores are out. It's just this wild turnaround, right? But is it? Is it really? I mean, the same issues that were there before are there now. And corporate is going, well, yeah, we're not making any money. So it's an issue of corporate profitability. And we'd like to be able to say that, we'll be coming back, but hey, why don't you guys just shop at our other 4 stores that are left, or go to walmart.com. But we appreciate your time that you shopped with us here in the Chicago communities. Walmart announced Tuesday that next week it will close 4 poor performing stores out of 8 it operates in Chicago. 3 of the locations are located in Chicago's South and West Side neighborhoods. I think that tells you kind of what you got going on there, right? Those are economically some of the poorest communities in Chicago, right? They are, which are predominantly minority and have long struggled with grocery and retail access. One of the stores is in Chicago's North Side, which is predominantly white and more affluent. The announcement comes after Walmart's highlighted its efforts in Chicago as a critical part of its greater $100 million pledge to advancing racial equity in 2020. It was the hot button of the moment, wasn't it? It was, everybody was all in. Everybody was all in until they're not. And here's Walmart. It's not about you. It's about us. Corporate profitability. It's not meeting our corporate standards. Chicago will be an example of what's possible when we leverage business, government, and community organizations for the good of all, Walmart CEO Doug McMillon said in 2021. Less than 2 years later, yep, I know I said that stuff. I know I said that stuff. The leverage of the business, we were doing that. Yeah, well, we're going to just unleverage that business a little bit. And going to unleverage that business, government, and community because we out of here. That's what they're doing. It's literally what they got going. It also follows more than a decade of intense efforts by Chicago political leaders to draw Walmart and other chains to underserved areas to spur economic development. Remember at the beginning of this Walmart run, all these cities were like, no, we can't have Walmart. It's going to crush local business. Oh, hey. You are going to come into our communities and you're going to pay XYZ and you're going to create this kind of revenue and taxes for, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, you're our best friend. Oh, you're leaving? God, we should have focused on that small business after all. Huh. Weird. I mean, it's just this up and down deal that you can see it coming from a mile away, right? But Walmart said Tuesday that these 4 stores lose tens of millions of dollars a year, and that annual losses have nearly doubled in the last 5 years. Now, why would that be? Are they getting the squeeze on goods versus what they can sell them for? Is the supply chain making this unfeasible? Well, they're not closing stores anywhere else, in this type of manner. You could say that they are in Portland because they are closing the last 2 Walmart in incorporated Portland. And they're just like, we're out of here. So what happened in the last 5 years? Yeah, you're going to have to think about that. I'm going to have to think about that. Yeah, we know shoplifting has escalated, and yet we're not going to come out and say it here. The company said it had tried several strategies to improve the stores and invested. So what's wrong with the stores? What's wrong with the stores? Yeah. Security, right? And invested hundreds of millions of dollars in the city. Unfortunately, these efforts have not materially improved the fundamental business challenges of our stores are facing, Walmart said in a blog post. The company said workers in these stores will be eligible to switch. Yeah, we don't care about that. Walmart said its remaining 4 Chicago stores continue to face the same business difficulties. Okay, so there's your clue. This could happen at other Walmarts in Chicago. I believe this is phase 1. I think you're going to have 2 or 3 of those other 4 remaining Chicago stores also go bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you later. Yeah. Just we couldn't make a go of it in the community. You know, we weren't meeting corporate expectations. But it believes closing these 4 will give the others the best chance of staying open. Well, you're hearing that now. Down the road, I bet you they close. The closures call attention to the recent pullback in major U.S. cities by Walmart and other national chains. They also raise questions about the effectiveness of government strategies that closely rely on national chains to improve food and retail access in underserved areas. David Merriman, a professor of public policy, management, and analytics at the University of Illinois, Chicago, found in a 2012 study of Walmart's impact in Chicago that businesses closer to Walmart, closer in, were significantly more likely to close than similar businesses further away. The study also found that the number of jobs lost by nearby retail competitors essentially offset the number of jobs created at the new Walmart store. So it's a wash. The whole thing was a wash. And now these communities, they're not going to have either the local stores that already got pushed out or Walmart because their residents are taking so much of a 5-finger discount out the front door that Walmart is saying, no mas. We're out. We're done. Half the stores, boom, we're gone. And yet you still haven't read about that here so far, right? Communities around the city shouldn't see Walmart or other big box retailers as a solution for local economic problems, he said. An example of what's possible. In 2020, Walmart temporarily closed all 8 of its stores in Chicago during protests in the city and across the country over Floyd's murder by police. There were fears because the residents in these cities that were most active absolutely tore apart retail. Yeah, that was the problem, right? You were lighting cities on fire, mostly peacefully. Yeah, when your city's on fire, that's not peaceful. And it's not mostly either, right? We knew this was a deal. And you're like, all right, well, I could have seen that one coming. That's happening? Huh. Yeah, not shocking. There were fears that Walmart and other businesses would leave Chicago. Well, Walmart pledged to stay and invest in the city. They were in it. They were partners for life. They were going to be there to the bitter end. I'm going to be with you forever until one of us leaves this world and then we'll figure it out. Or until shoplifters take too much of the profit or eliminate all profit and go negative out the front door. Until then. And then that whole partners for life thing. Yeah, not so much. Yeah. The whole partners for life, we were going to be married forever. It's just going to be you and I together, Chicago, Walmart, just, waltzing down life's roads. And, yeah, you know what? It's been a good run. No, actually it hasn't been a good run. It's been an awful run for Walmart, hasn't it? It's been a terrible run. This is what you get. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Walmart's McMillan announced in June 2020 that Walmart would reopen its stores and also build 2 health centers and a trading academy for employees in Chicago, because that's really going to do a lot. And I don't need to remind you, but Lori Lightfoot was one of the few mayors to ever not get reelected in a city this size. It's like 40 years since a mayor in her position hasn't been reelected. Normally you're just like, doing a decent job. But she did such a crappy job with, goofball stuff like this. Hey, let's build 2 health centers. Nothing wrong with that. But you got to focus on your problems, which you had wild amounts of criminal activity going. The murder rate in the 700-800s. I mean, you're just shooting people left and right. That's what you got going on. And then in the stores, you got the 5-finger discount and you've got You had burning up stores. You had to close all the Walmarts down because your residents were going ham on the city. Stores tend to close. Here's that end result. Walmart's commitment by Chicago remains strong. We're not going anywhere, McMillan said. That was like 3 years ago. What happened? Little thing called corporate profit, and Walmart wasn't making any, so out they go. That's how that works. He also said at the time that Walmart stores in Chicago collectively operate at a loss due to a combination of our sales, or lack thereof, product, margin, and expenses. We're dodging the elephant in the room. We got a combination of sales, product, margin, expenses, and lack of profit. He said Walmart would try to reduce losses without raising prices or cutting workers' wages or hours. Well, that is admirable. And yet when the residents of Chicago walk out the front door with massive amounts of goods and nothing is done about it, stores get closed. Not that hard, right? Not that hard. Walmart may have to revisit these decisions again if they aren't working after a few years, he cautioned. But that's not what we hope for or plan on. Well, they've got millions of dollars invested, right? But at some point in time, you gotta stop the bleeding. And that's what Walmart's doing. And everybody's kind of going, well, I don't get it. It's really busy in these stores. A lot of traffic, a lot of sales. So then where's the equation going sideways? Now we're going to hint on a couple issues here. Let's keep going. A year later, McMillan said, Walmart wants to serve the people of the great city, build a successful business, and work with those who are determined to see Chicago fulfill its potential. In a statement Tuesday, Lightfoot said she was incredibly disappointed that Walmart, a strong partner in the past, was closing stores. Well, Walmart might have been strong, but your community wasn't. Your community is the reason Walmart is shutting these stores down, because they're making money just outside of Chicago, aren't they? Yeah, they are, right? Same thing in Portland, closing the last 2 Walmarts down. Saw a video yesterday, cop car out in front, guy walked through, like the shelves were totally empty. Just totally empty. Just, how Walmart's were those big, big stores and like you can barely see the end. Like at Home Depot, you can barely read the next, if you don't have great eyesight, like I don't, even with contacts, you're like, I can barely, what does that say way down there? Well, way down there, it was just all empty in the Portland Walmart. And, just outside of Portland, and this is my point, just outside of Portland, they got a lot of Walmarts still going. But in downtown in Portland Incorporated, where you've just got this, crazy levels of shoplifting going on, it's not happening, closing them down. And then they're citing, corporate profitability. We got a sales issue. We got a profit line issue. We got this, we got that. But they're never really coming right out and saying, hey, it's shoplifting on these individual stores. The CEO said in December, and I've said this a million times, I'm not even going to tell you because we know the drill. Unceremoniously abandoning these neighborhoods will create barriers to basic needs for thousands of residents, she said. I call on Walmart to ensure that these soon-to-be closed stores are repurposed with significant community engagement so they can find a new use to serve their neighborhoods. By community engagement, you mean the community stealing from stores, making them unprofitable. How about that? And that's what needs to be looked at, right? Why are these stores closed? Well, because they can't make any money. Because even when you sell a lot of stuff, when a certain percentage goes out the front door, the 5-finger discount. Because I've been reading these stores for a long time, right? I've been covering these, just the inherent closure of stores in some of these cities. Hey, here's what's going on here. Here's what's going on here. But for the most part, if you're selling enough goods and you've got a decent profit margin, which Walmart does, because it is, one of the biggest retailers in the world, and, it's got its profit margins down to, they know exactly what it is. So they know exactly. It's not like they're sitting there with a balance sheet going, I don't know where it's going. These stores aren't economically viable. They're not performing. They're non-performing stores. And when you have a non-performing entity within your business structure, you shut her down. Struggles in the cities. That's our next section here. Walmart's decision follows years of attempts by the company to move into big cities. Walmart expanded in rural and suburban areas during the 1980s and 1990s and began to try enter cities in the early 2000s. But the company was met with stiff resistance in New York, LA, Chicago, and other cities from unions and Democratic opponents who worried non-union Walmart would drive down wages and hurt small businesses. Isn't that interesting? New York, LA, Chicago, they didn't want him in Portland either. They just the mayor there, Sam Adams at the time, basically, kind of pushed him out, said, no, we don't want your business structure here. People in the community are like, yeah, we want to shop at Walmart. Here in Washington, we have very few Walmarts. And where you do find one, they are way the fuck out. They are way out there. Way out there. In 2006, Walmart overcame opposition in Chicago and opened its first store. Chicago's mayor at that time, Richard M. Daley, paved the way for Walmart by vetoing an ordinance requiring all big box stores to pay their employees a $10 minimum wage. Other Chicago leaders saw bringing in Walmart and national chains as a way to boost the economy and provide access to fresh food in Chicago's predominantly Black South Side area. This Walmart is a win-win-win. A win for the local economy, a win for the local job creation, and a win for the Chicagoans. So is this a loss? Is this a loss for the local economy? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You're losing the tax base of Walmart. You're losing the ability for your citizens to shop, to get groceries. So is it a loss for local job creation? Yeah, you just lost XYZ how many jobs? And a loss for the Chicago's? Yeah, they can't shop there. So Chicago's then mayor, Raheem Emanuel, said in 2012, when Walmart opened a store in the Chicago, but this strategy was misplaced, said Stacy Mitchell, the co-executive director of the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, a research and advocacy organization that challenges economic concentration. Don't want to have too much in one. Walmart comes in, boxes out all the local stores because local stores can't compete with Walmart's infrastructure, with their ability to bring goods and, services into the community. They're just so cheap and they've got a better economy of scale, right? And so they put out a lot of businesses when they come into town, because why would you go to a local shop when you can go to Walmart and get roughly the same thing, but cheaper? Yeah. She believes the city should have taken stronger efforts to support smaller grocers who have been squeezed by big chains. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? Plus Walmart told us that they were going to double down on their investment in Chicago. 2020. We're going to make this happen for you, Chicago. 2 years later, 3 years later, so all that stuff we said. Yeah. Well, I had my fingers crossed behind my back, right? Because we're not making money and we're a corporation and we got these little thing called shareholders. And if those shareholders don't see a return on investment, they hit us up as the, board of directors and corporate structure and management. We got to toe the line here. If you're not making money, if stores aren't performing, they get whacked. So you're seeing store after store after store get whacked in these communities and these cities where they have allowed criminal activity to happen. Shoplifting, hey, no problem. Under $950 in California, all day long. Go for it. How's that working for California? Not that great, right? Not that great. Chicago, they've lost store after store after store. You're going to get down to a point where you're not going to have a lot. And that's because of how that store is treated within their local community. People are just stealing from it left and right. And, we're not arresting, we're not prosecuting, we're not putting people in jail. So why wouldn't this continue? On top of most of the time in these cities, you've decriminalized drugs. You've decriminalized the crime that allows people to steal and get said drugs. You've got the perfect petri dish for businesses closing down left and right. And you're seeing it unravel in front of you. This is literally what's going on. Has this article really touched on it yet? We're dancing around the issue, aren't we? We're dancing around the issue. Hey, it's over there. Look over there. Look over there. Look over there. Walmart is retrenching in some cities. Retrenching. That's a great word. Let me reimagine and rethink. At the same time, I'm going to do a little retrenching as well. It's also closed stores in Portland, Oregon recently. Okay. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Why Portland, Oregon? Well, because you got a bunch of psycho nut jobs stealing stuff left and right, and it's not safe. How about that? How about the Whole Foods in San Francisco? Got an overdose death in the restroom. They just announced 2 days ago, I think it was. Yeah, we're going to shut that bad boy down after being in business 1 year. Their flagship store in San Francisco shuts down after being in business 1 year. What's that tell you? You got a bunch of nut jobs running around. They had guys peeing inside the store. Store officials, store security tells the guy, hey, stop peeing in the store. This isn't a restroom. You know what he tells him? I'm not done yet. And just kind of keeps going. I mean, you just got people doing crazy town stuff because San Francisco is crazy town. Chicago? Yeah. You got a little thing called shoplifting going on, right? The benefits of Walmart's ability to drive down costs, we talked about that, and keep prices low have proven less effective in cities. Okay. So we're focusing on the cost basis. We're not focusing on loss prevention. Why is that? Well, we wouldn't want to talk about that because I can't have that. Walmart's typical 180,000 square foot supercenter model is not as well suited for urban neighborhoods as it is for suburban and rural areas, said Ray Weimer, a professor of retail practice at Syracuse University. Well, we didn't really get into that, right? We didn't really get into that. Dude, we're not talking about that. You're talking about some corporate profit. You're talking about some cost structure and that. But bottom line is these stores aren't viable, period. And Walmart knows there's going to be a big backlash for this. They know whenever Walgreens shuts down a whole bunch of stores, they know the backlash is going to be horrific, but they're running a business. They're running a business. And when the business doesn't make money, it's a top-down decision. Shut her down. Shut her down. Walmart is not the only national chain that has closed stores in major cities. A Whole Foods flagship closed in San Francisco on Monday, citing concerns about worker safety. Yep, worker safety. So they have been called there to that Whole Foods once a week on some kind of major safety issue inside the store since they were open. Had a dude OD in the restroom. They got to the point where they're finding needles and pipes and tinfoil in the restroom. And they got to the point where, like other cities have done, you had to have a receipt. You had to buy something before you could go use the restroom. Remember when Starbucks was like, everybody can use our restrooms. And then everybody was there. People were having sex in there. People were selling their bodies for drug money. They were doing drugs, intravenous stuff all day long was going on in the Starbucks in like downtown Seattle. Till they got to the point where like, nope. I know we said we're going to have our restrooms open for everybody. But we've had to reimagine and rethink that policy. Now we're retrenching that policy. We're retrenching. We're going in a different direction. You guys can't all use the restroom because you guys are doing shenanigans in there. Walgreens and CVS have also closed in San Francisco and New York, while Starbucks closed 16 locations across various cities. And they closed them down in the roughest areas where their employees were literally unsafe. And Starbucks CEO at the time said, hey, I just got some feedback from my employees. And I'm shocked. And I know you're going to be shocked, but their physical safety was number one on the list of their concerns. Who knew? Yeah. These retailers face several challenges in cities. Urban locations carry higher rents, which means they need to hit higher sales targets to break even. Weimer told CNN, some retailers have also cited higher levels of theft and other crime in their city stores. Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go. This is in the third to the last sentence in this whole effing article. Some retailers have also cited higher levels of theft and other crime in their city stores. You think? How hard is this to figure out, folks? Third to the last sentence. I mean, we just want to bury it. We want to talk about just a bunch of nonsense. And it's not nonsense. The stuff is true. But the underlying factor is if people weren't stealing so much, if these stores weren't attracting folks that are just nut jobs in the community, drugged out nut jobs, like in the Whole Foods, people dying in the restroom, ODing. They literally had somebody covered in a sheet being wheeled out in a gurney from the restroom at Whole Foods. How was your Whole Foods shopping experience this afternoon, honey? It was pretty good, except for the dead dude they wheeled out. What? Yeah, that happened. So, this kind of stuff is going to happen. It doesn't happen in all the stores. Not all the stores are closing. If all the stores are closing, like in some instances, like Tuesday morning, all right, their business model no longer works anywhere, right? Walmart's business model works, but third to last sentence, higher levels of theft and other crime in their city stores. It's not safe. And you can only hire so much security, and it's still a no-go. It's still a no-go. It's like Nike in Portland. Hey, we would love to reopen our Nike Town store, but Mr. Mayor, Mr. Ted Wheeler, we're going to need you to subsidize some security in the form of police officers. We'll pay their salaries, but we need you to dedicate some folks to our Portland Nike store. And Ted Wheeler, he had to say, Mayor Ted, he had to say, yeah, I'd love to do that, but I don't have the resources. Yeah. They defunded the police. They went down that whole road. Cops have been leaving in droves. Nobody wants to be a cop there. It's not happening. And so, Mayor Ted had to say, sorry guys, love to have your tax revenue in the form, but for our city, for our fine city, but no can do. Come back and see me later. In addition, COVID-19 pandemic safety, lockdowns, and the rise of remote work have hurt foot traffic and sales to stores. Okay. All right. The rise of remote work. Are we seeing a massive rise in remote work in the South Side and the West Side locations in Chicago? No, you're not. Right? No, these aren't downtown core locations. So we just immediately go from some retailers have also cited higher levels of theft and other crime in their city stores. Some. We're not even saying Walmart. It's not even on the list here. In addition, so we're going to throw that in there right at the end of the article. Then we're going to go to, in addition, COVID-19 pandemic safety lockdowns. Okay. Yes, that's an issue, but a lot of corporations got big government money to keep them going during this. Plus Walmart was open during all this, right? And the rise of remote work. Okay. Yeah, that has impacted stores. A lot of small stores in downtown cores. Those are the ones shutting. Right? Those are the ones shutting, have hurt foot traffic because they don't have all the big businesses, with people in their offices coming down to get that deli sandwich, get that dry cleaning at noon during their work hour. That gym is no longer open because you don't have enough foot traffic. Those are all storylines that I have covered. That's what's going on, right? But that isn't cited for these stores. These stores are not located in a downtown urban location. They're just not. So, and sales to stores. If you have enough sales, you're going to be golden. But what we're not saying is here, you know what? Even though we've got sales, we're still not selling enough to offset safety issues and shoplifting concerns. No can do. It's not a viable model. And the growth of Amazon and same-day delivery has made going to stores less appealing for urban residents. Okay. I mean, yes, but grocery stores, I know a lot of people that get groceries delivered by Walmart, right? Because it's so convenient. And if you have the Walmart premium, whatever it is, you can get as many deliveries as you want free all day long. You pay for it with your premium membership. But, so you've got that going on. So Walmart has a lot of things going on, but what they are literally saying is no can do half of the stores in Chicago. So getting through that article, you can kind of see, well, we're not being told the full story. It's like, okay, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. I don't know why they're going out of business. Yeah. Other stores are more transparent. Whole Foods, viable chain, owned by Amazon, right? Safeway, viable chain, just not viable locations. Walmart, viable chain as a business model. They have billions of dollars in profit, just not in the 4 stores they're closing down in Chicago, right? Yeah. Not too hard to figure out, but this is a CNN article, and you see how they spin it. They don't really tell us much of anything. I got a little of this, a little of that, but you don't really get the full story. How about just brutal honesty? What about actual transparency? That would be entertaining, wouldn't it? Yeah. We're not going to see that though, because then we'd have to say, hey, you guys are stealing lots of shit. What's the deal here? And we don't want to do that because, we don't. It's not what we're doing. It's not reasonable. All right. That's it for me. Thanks so much. Love to have you as a subscriber. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that notification bell. Hit the like button if you like this video. Share the content with friends, family, coworkers, other reasonable people. How's that? All right. I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.